Good evening, everyone. So I've got everything going on now. I've got a proper stand for Instagram. That's amazing. And I've got everyone else in front of me. So hello, Instagram. Hello, everyone else, as usual. Welcome to Live Remixed Samples, 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday evening. We go through parts of the book. This week it is chapter 4. Which is called Got to Give It Up. And there came a time in my life after being lost in music, which was chapter 3, that chapter 4 basically had to follow on, which was Got to Give It Up. So we're going to talk about that in a bit more detail in a little while. It's an interesting chapter, and it's something that I think when the changes started to take place in my life, and when I started to change, chapter 4, Got to Give It Up, was really the moments when I started to become more self-aware. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the journey. There's 14 chapters in total. Before I get into that, you can, if you're in the UK, you can pre-order a signed copy of the book right now. You can just go to markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop. That's markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop. You can just go to the pre-order link there, buy yourself a copy, a pre-ordered copy. Many people keep asking me for a signed copy. Bless you. Thank you all so much for that. Really grateful to all of you for asking for a signed copy. You can get that now and pre-order it at markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop. So, great stuff. Happy days. What I would say as well is that I've upset one of my friends today, which I never want to do. But I upset a friend of mine by a post that we put out about saying you're either growing or you're dying. And got some interesting feedback on that he disagreed, and that's okay. We can all disagree. We can all agree. We've all got opinions, and that's okay. It's about understanding what works best for us and then finding out how it goes. So I got that quote from The Shawshank Redemption, basically, when Andy Dufresne said, "Get busy living or get busy dying." To me, that was just an incredible piece of information, because I realized that get busy living meant all my positive, uplifting, happy thoughts, and get busy dying basically meant all my sort of negative fears, doubts, and worries that would come to the surface from time to time. So that was really important for me to understand. So when I say growing or dying or create or disintegrate, it's very much about choosing to be in the creative flow and actually uplifting your life to such a point that you just feel good all the time. Because to be honest, that's how I feel. I feel good all the time these days. I'm fortunate enough to say that, but I only got here by feeling really bad before when I was younger. In other news, tomorrow night, Straight Talking, we've got Jason Cundy. Jason Cundy is going to be joining me for a Straight Talking interview. You need to see this interview. Jason is a phenomenal guy, ex-Chelsea, Tottenham, Portsmouth, Ipswich footballer. And he, if you want to learn some stuff about becoming a professional footballer and the focus you need, if you want to learn some stuff about how he recovered from testicular cancer, which is a horrible scare for a young guy to get, it's all in this interview. Jason's come through some huge challenges, been very successful. Now he's back in the media and he's doing a great job. He's become a father again. Good on him. Absolutely good on him. So Jason Cundy will be with us tomorrow night. However, tonight is Life Remixed Samples, talking about the chapters, like I said. Very important, I think, that we all understand at different points in our life. We all have a different journey, and things happen to us at different times. I was in a party for about 15 years, traveling all the globe and DJing, and then obviously it all hit the fan, and I was down and in a bad way. And then chapter 4 happened. So obviously chapter 3 was lost in music. Chapter 4 essentially is got to give it up. So I always like to start with a few quotes. A couple of quotes that I think really sort of got to me. To make profound changes in your life, you either need inspiration or desperation. I think that's great. That's Tony Robbins. To make profound changes in your life, you need either inspiration or desperation, from Tony Robbins. And to be honest, when I found myself in a real low, I had both. Inspired and desperate, but I managed to turn some corners. There's some great stuff in here in chapter 4. There's a guy in The Secret, Dr. Ben Johnson, who says we come with a basic program. It's called self-healing, and we do. Our bodies can heal themselves. If you get a cut on your hand, for instance, it might bleed for a bit, and then eventually it would heal itself back up. The body does have self-healing. The art, if you like, of actually making sure that our entire body is self-healing starts with our right thinking, being in those positive, create positive emotions rather than disintegrate negative emotions. So really, really important that that we basically get out there and we get ourselves into a healthy emotional state. Bob Proctor says disease cannot live in a body in a healthy emotional state. Louise Hay says the same. Many people say the same things, and yet we've got to find that person that resonates with us and then go for it and start to think in a different way. Every successful person thought in some kind of different way to become successful. A couple of other quotes. Always like to start chapters with quotes, like I said. One from Danny Tenaglia from one of his songs, "Things are changing, life's rearranging." You could say that. Chapter 4, as I say, is all about got to give it up. And that's when I started to understand a bit more about myself and what was going on. So if you're going through any kind of crisis, and of course the world's going through a crisis at the moment, you do have a choice. You can learn from these issues, if you like, and then be able to move forward and get yourself into a more positive way of thinking and feeling. If you want a positive life, you've got to start with positive thoughts. It's just as simple as that. You know, if you've got doubts and fears and worries and anxieties, talk to someone, talk to a professional, get yourself onto an even keel. There's so many people that will be there to help you and guide you, and it's really, really important that you go with that. So I grew up, an addictive personality. I was talking to Brandon about that the other day, but certainly I got addicted to many pleasurable things. And they weren't all good for me. Let's put it that way. They might have been pleasurable for a short time, but over a long time, they became very, very, very debilitating, I would say. And my body finally one day just gave up and said, "That's it. I've had enough." And it put me on the floor, as I've said. So I was DJing. I was doing my thing, as I say before that, traveling around, doing all the fun stuff. But I descended very slowly into pain and disease. I got stomach problems, and then I started to get pains all over my body. And it got me into a really, really bad place. I started to learn that thoughts do become things, though. And that was something that really started to blow my mind, because you can watch The Secret on Netflix. As I say, it was the first thing that was given to me to watch. And then when I watched it once and said, "Okay, that's fine." And my friend Brian Miller said, no, you have to watch this 100 times. And I went back and I watched The Secret 100 times. I do know that off by heart, that film now. I've used it. I've absolutely used it to bounce back from nothing. At the end of the day, I had a lot of bad habits, and I had to replace them with a lot of good habits. And that was very, very important. Understanding, I used to feel that I wasn't good enough. I was in a bad way. I wasn't good enough. And I had broken relationships and all kinds of stuff that went bad. And it kept making me sad. And I needed to know why. Why was I feeling so sad? So I kept getting myself to learn and to study. I ended up going for therapy. I had quite a lot of psychotherapy because I needed to understand more about that. And some of that is listed out in chapter 4 of Life Remixed as well. And do remember, as I say, I've seen a couple of pre-orders come in while I've been sitting here. You can pre-order a signed copy if you would like that on markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop. Just go there, pre-order, and we'll get you a signed copy. It's coming out in February. So it was interesting times. I was being really, really challenged, and I realised that one of the things I absolutely had to do, and saying this just before Christmas might be challenging for some, but I had to stop drinking alcohol. That was my thing. I had to stop drinking alcohol. But I didn't do that straight away. I got asked a question, a very interesting question. It said, "Why do you drink, Mark?" It was Brian again up in Scotland who asked me the question. He said, "Why do you drink alcohol?" And I didn't know. And that was weird. That was weird that I'd been drinking alcohol for 20 years. And I didn't know why. I didn't have an answer. Oh, because I like it. Well, okay. But I have never really analysed myself. I was too busy in the middle of the party playing the records and doing all that kind of stuff. And I hadn't really analysed it. And I sat there, I was racking my brains. I don't know. Because everybody does, all kinds of stuff. I was just avoiding the real question of why. Why do you do it? And I remember Brian just basically calling me out. He called me out bullshit because I was just coming up with a few silly answers. That in the end he was just like, "You're wasting my time." I didn't have an answer. And there was a quote from Bob Proctor that says, "Your way isn't working, try mine." And clearly my body was complaining, and I had to change things. So I had to come up with an answer or stop drinking, basically. And I've actually used this on a few of my friends and people who have come to me about giving up alcohol. People say to me, "Well, how have you done it? How did you do it?" I basically just made a decision. I asked myself some better questions. I got some better answers. And then I made a decision that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I wasn't going to put something into my body that was destroying me, clearly. There was no point in that. Get busy living or get busy dying, as he says in the Shawshank Redemption. I chose to get busy living. I chose that alcohol was not adding anything to my life. And certainly not in the quantities and the way I was using it and the way I was drinking. It was not acceptable. And I had to change it. It was tough. But it was also something that needed to be done, shall we say. It needed to be done. As a professional DJ, that was a challenging moment, as you can imagine, because I'm in nightclubs and all of a sudden I'm turning down drinks and saying no thank you, and turning down, everything, and just sort of, cleaning up my act, essentially. And some people thought it was strange, but the majority of people supported me. The majority of people said, "That is amazing. Thank you so much for leading and saying that you're not going to drink alcohol anymore. I'm going to try that myself." In fact, some of them said, "I might try that myself." Well, okay, so you haven't made the decision then. If you decide, "I'm going to do that, I'm cleaning up my act, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore," then bang, that's a decision you've made. And you can do it. And I've seen many, many people do it. And I love it. I think it's wonderful. So also I had some challenging times throughout that time, 2008, because I stepped up and I tried to launch my business up higher with Kidology. We tried to go higher with it and tried to get more bigger clubs. But unfortunately, we also sailed into the credit crunch of 2008-9. And that led me to some terrible, challenging places financially. There's more detail in the book, of course, but essentially things got very, very difficult. I answered something on a video the other day, Ask Mark Anything, where it was about 6 months of losing money consistently over a period of time where I'd been used to making money for many years. I was about 6 months of putting on parties where it became untenable. We couldn't keep going. We were too much in the hole. And it was sad. It was really, really sad and a difficult time. Lewis, hi mate, thanks for having you here. What type of alcohol was I drinking? What a great question. Everything. Everything. Yeah, I mean, I would drink a lot of spirits. I was never really particularly into lager, but I would drink a lot of vodka. Not neat, obviously, but even when I was trying to cut down on calories, I'd be having vodka, lime and sodas or cocktails and stuff like that. But I was drinking way too much, and most nights of the week I was drinking way too much. As a party DJ on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, well, maybe you could say, well, it was just one of the things that went along with the job. But actually, I'd be drinking every night. We'd have wine in the house and stuff like that. It just became too much. That lifestyle was just what seemed like fun and party times at a younger age. They just got very, very negative. And I was not in a good way. And my addictions, if you like, just took over. It was very challenging. But I was also in a massively stressful situation. I was in such a stressful situation financially. My health, I was trying to recover my health from the first collapse a few years earlier. But I wasn't recovering my health well enough, clearly, because I was having to take a lot of medication from the doctor. So I'm taking a lot of medication. I'm still out. By the way, one of the doctors said to me, it's okay to go out and have your normal lifestyle. Just try not to mix it up too much with too much alcohol and stuff like that, which was borderline one of the worst pieces of advice I've ever been given. And yet, actually, it was probably exactly what I wanted to hear at the time. So I was all over the shop. I was trying to get better, but not really. I was kind of like up, down, and not really following through and actually getting something proper achieved. I hadn't really made decisions. So I tried to come off the medication a lot, even while I was going through these stressful situations and the business collapse and everything else. And what I found was that I couldn't. The medication just as soon as I stopped taking it, my body was ravaged again with pain. And this went on for quite some time. Every time I tried to put the medication down, agony in my body within 2 or 3 days, back to square one, more pills, more medication. And I was in such a stressful situation, and I wasn't handling it very well at all. So I knew I had to make some big changes. First one, gave up alcohol. After that, changed my positive thinking, changed my thinking to positive, and got myself moving forwards. All of a sudden, things started to change. I started to change. All the social circle around me started to change. Relationships, people, everything. It all just started to change. And a lot of the people that I'd spent much of my 30s with, they just started to drift away. And when I gave up alcohol, I spent about 6 months living in my friend's house, in his spare room. I hardly saw anyone. I hardly spoke to anyone. Any of my old social circle didn't really call me. It was quite a lonely time in many ways. And yet I knew I had to go through it. And it was almost like a full detox of everything. I tried a few times before. I hadn't succeeded fully sorting myself out. This time I was going for it. And then something really interesting happened. I became aware that living in my friend's spare room, that all of a sudden my life was almost stress-free. I was like, actually, I'm almost stress-free. I gave up alcohol 6 months before. I was really, clean and focused. I'd given up actually meat, wheat, sugar, alcohol, dairy. I mean, everything. I gave up absolutely everything. Would be interested in having a podcast with a Middle East-based health and safety person. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, of course. I'll reach out to you after this for sure, mate. And so the point was that I needed to detox my life, and I gave up all the toxins, but I was still in a stressful situation. Once the stressful situation had gone, I tried to come off the medication one last time. I thought I'll just put the medicine down and I'll just try to come off it. But I kind of thought to myself, no, my body's going to be in agony again in 3 days' time, and I'm going to have to keep taking the medication. But something really it was like a miracle. It's like a miracle. I was fine. I was fine for 1, 2, 3 days. Then I was fine for 5, 6, 7, and then into another week and into another week. And I kept thinking I kept expecting it to come back. This disease in my body just ravaged me. 1, 2, 3 months went by. It had gone away. The entire pain and ravage of my body, and the fact that my joints were frozen and I couldn't move, everything, it had literally left my body. And that was the moment when I realized that you cannot have a disease if you're at ease. And that to me was mind-blowing, because no one had ever told me this. But as soon as I got myself at ease, and I mean fully at ease, so I started to look after my body, self-healing, got myself into a good place, removed myself from massively stressful situations as they were at the time, and the credit crunch and the financial crisis and everything else. Got a chance to just breathe again and be like, oh. All of a sudden, no more pills. I didn't need them. The disease has gone away. And that to me was just this is incredible information. I was like, wow, okay, that's amazing. And then basically what happened from there was I spoke to a friend on Facebook just before Christmas, and he said, would you like to meet up in January? But I can't drink because I'm running the London Marathon. And I thought to myself, aha, I've never run anywhere in my life. I'm 6'4", 100, 110 kilos at best. I'm a big lad. And I'd never run anywhere in my life. And he said to me, would you like to run the London Marathon? Not with him. He was fast as you like. But he said, do you want to run it? I can get you a space. And I was just like, wow, that would be amazing. Wouldn't this be a great story to go from unable to walk to running a marathon? I thought, well, that's an incredible story. I must do it. I must do it. I'd completely detoxified myself. I was clean of any alcohol. I was clean. I was good. I was in a good place. I'd even given up the medication the doctor had given me. And bang, I was out and I started running. The whole story is in the book, in Life Remixed. You can pre-order it now, as I said. But the point is that, if you go to markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop, you can go there and pre-order. But my point to you is that I needed to get better. I needed to get better. I needed to get well. I de-stressed myself. And then all of a sudden I'm out there and I'm running marathons after not being able to walk only a few short months, before. All of a sudden I'm able to get out there and go for it. And within 4 months, just following a plan and visualizing, by the way, I just completely visualized everything. I watch myself every night. I would go to sleep, and as I'd be going to sleep, I'd be imagining running around by Buckingham Palace and up the Mall to the finish line of the London Marathon. I would do it, and I would do it, and I would do it. And the more I did it, the closer I got to it, and the further I could run every single day. And I just kept going, I kept going, I kept going. There's also a wonderful story in the book where Brian Miller up in Scotland had asked me to visualize being fit and strong again. He visualized when I was absolutely done in. He said to me, visualize being strong again. How do you how does it think? How do you feel? And he got me to stand up. I pushed myself up out of the chair, and he got me to stand up. And he was like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Visualize yourself being big and strong. You know, you might be broken now, but think about it and get. And I saw myself doing it. He said, what color top are you wearing? And I said, yellow. I said, I'm wearing a yellow top. And then I forgot about that whole visualization session, and I recovered, and I detoxified my life, and I sorted everything out. And then all of a sudden, I'm finishing the London Marathon in 2009, and I crossed the finish line. I've got my medal just over there. I crossed the finish line. And there's a picture of me in the final part of the 2009 London Marathon with my medal at the finish line, standing there like this, like, yes. What color top am I wearing? What do you reckon? You know, it's a yellow top. It blew my mind, that. It absolutely blew my mind, because I was all of a sudden like, wow, I can actually visualize things in advance and then order my life and make them happen. And within my power, of course, the things that are within my power, I can actually make that occur, which is basically me, by the way. And I just went for it. I just said, okay, fine, this is amazing. I can now do absolutely everything that I turn my mind to. I can do it. And that was a life-changing moment. Absolutely, yeah, right there, Kevin. Absolutely right. I was wearing a yellow top. And the point is that I'd visualized it sometime before, and I'd crossed the marathon finishing line, and I'd chosen to create rather than disintegrate. And I'd chosen to be positive and to live and get busy living and not get busy dying. And the more I did that, the further things got down the line. And I was just like, this is mind-blowing information. I can do this. And if some of you have seen last night in my Facebook group, if you join the Life Remix Facebook group, I posted a video from Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey saying exactly how he visualized his life to be earning $10 million in the movies. And he visualized it for 4 years before he got there. Now, I've done that with a marathon, and I've done that with business, and I've done that with this book, and I've done that over and over, and I keep doing it. I've got goals and visualizations for when I'm 60, which is 10 years from now. Subconscious, exactly. It was about programming my subconscious, but I didn't even know about that. Why didn't anyone teach me that when I was a kid? You know, why aren't we taught about how we can program our subconscious and actually make something important happen in our lives? So the whole thing for me is actually now is just about constantly like doing some good and just helping. And, you know, I'm only talking from my own experience. That's what Life Remixed, the book, is all about. It's my experience, but it's strategies that you can use. And that subconscious programming, getting yourself moving, getting yourself buzzing, that is where the beauty of life is. And the Tony Robbins quote at the start, real change happens when desperation meets inspiration. I was both desperate and inspired, as it turned out. And it was really, really, really a powerful thing. So I urge you to use visualization and get yourself moving. Choose life, get yourself into a positive place. And you can achieve anything. You can literally achieve everything, anything. The next 2 years of my life are going to be absolutely incredible because I'm creating them right now. The sort of deals I've got coming out, the book coming out in February, all the things I'm working on, all the people that are responding to me. And bless you all for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. It's absolutely wonderful to have you all here. What I would say is that running the marathon was not easy. It was not easy, but it was something that I chose. And once I'd achieved it, I knew I could do absolutely anything. Really, really important. So what I do is I always have a few remix opportunities at the end of every chapter. This was a good one. There was a few things here that I had to deal with. See how these make you feel, because it's important. I had to take responsibility for everything that I'd created, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Responsibility is the key to freedom. And I needed to start taking responsibility. It was really tough. All the broken relationships, all the poor health, the bankruptcy, losing money, doing just everything. I had to take responsibility for it. Hardest thing I've ever done. Hardest question I've ever had to answer. What was it about me that attracted all of these things? When I started to understand about the law of attraction and the law of vibration, really, really challenging, but so rewarding once I got to it. If there's any pain in your life, thanks, Peter. I really appreciate that. NLP, Kevin, it's exactly what we're talking about, mate. Yes, bang on. Absolutely bang on. Really, it was tough. It was really tough. But I tell you what, as I said, best thing ever. Responsibility is the key to freedom once you get really into total acceptance, getting yourself to a good place. So some remix opportunities, right? At the end of every chapter of Life Remixed, addiction to anything that's self-destructive is a dis-ease. It's all there in the language, people. It's just so interesting. A dis-ease, people talk about, alcoholism, or heart disease or cancer or any kind of, it's a dis-ease. It's so important that we actually understand that and we start to get ourselves into a happy, healthy vibration. The flare-ups that I've had from the incurable dis-ease that allegedly is in my body have happened when I'm under immense stress. It's happened twice. Once I was telling you about, and once later on, which is almost like I needed to go through to be able to prove it to everyone. Because now that I've removed all stress from my life, I feel great. It's not an accident. It is not an accident. Listen to what your body is telling you. Massively important. I didn't listen to my body for years. It would give me pains and little bits of jip, and I'd be like, whatever. But the bottom line is that I wasn't listening. It took an absolute collapse to hit the floor to listen to what my body was telling me. Now, I know one of our guys watching at the moment, Lewis Senior. Lewis has written a book called At the End of the Day, and he's also very kindly writing part 2 of the Forward to Life Remixed. Lewis had his own collapse. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you just need to start listening to what your body and your mind is telling you. So important. Here's another one for you, another remix opportunity. We do attract what we think and also what we feel about. Many people will be like, well, I'm into positive thinking. But what they're not understanding is it's more about what we're feeling. It's more about our vibration. It's more about what we're in harmony with. You only attract what you're absolutely in vibration and harmony with. And it's a beautiful concept when you get it. It takes a bit of time, but you've got to think about what you're attracting and the people that you have around you, at work, at home, everywhere. But it's so important to get yourself into a place where you're not stressed, because when you're not stressed, you can achieve big, big, huge success. I'm on a mission to prove this stuff. That's how I went from unable to walk to running 4 marathons. It's how I went from bankrupt to financially free. It's how I continue to grow all the time, and that's what the book's about, essentially, to help anyone who wants to read it, just to give them a bit of a kickstart, a bit of help along the way. Hi, Phil, over there on Instagram. How you doing, Phil? My old mate at Ministry of Sound. Life Remixed is coming out soon, Phil. I think you'll enjoy it, mate. So yeah, set some big goals. Set some big goals that are so big you have no idea how you'll achieve them. When I was on the floor, bankrupt with nothing, I said I'm going to earn £104,000 a year. I didn't know how to do that. That was like 12 years ago. I had no concept of how to do that. I hadn't done that with music. I was like, I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Within 3 years or so, 3 to 4 years maximum, I was doing it. Now that seems like quite small fry, in all honesty. But at the end of the day, I set that goal. It was a big goal at the time, and I went for it. And now I set even bigger goals. The next 10 years, I'm setting some huge goals. We're not here for long. We need to get on with it, and we need to get moving, right? Really important. And then every morning and every evening, when you really, really want to achieve something, every morning and every evening, close your eyes and imagine, visualize it, that you've already achieved the goals. See your future self living exactly as you like. Ask yourself, how good does this feel? I guarantee you it's going to feel absolutely phenomenal, and you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. I get lots of people coming to me, they're like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve that, or it's okay for you, it's not for me. No way. I'll call you out every day of the week on it. You are absolutely worthy of the very, very best. And I think that you can achieve it. It is really in your hands. It's in your hands to be able to, on your mind and your heart, to be able to achieve it. So that's a lot about chapter 4. There's a lot more information obviously in the chapter than that, but the bottom line is it's all part of the journey. We've got 14 chapters to cover, so I'm doing one a week. I'm here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. GMT. We've got Jason Cundy in interview tomorrow as the Talk Sports Bar presenter. Used to play for Chelsea, Tottenham, Portsmouth, and Ipswich, and has also overcome testicular cancer. Bless him. What a beautiful story it is. But Jason's going to be with us tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. So we're going to be broadcasting that. Lewis Senior is going to be joining us the following Wednesday. That's going to be an absolutely fascinating chat. 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. We've got some great guests. We've had some great guests. Brandon Block, Danny Ramplin, Dimple Thakrar. It's absolutely wonderful. Kevin's coming with a question. Hope you aren't motivated by the money. I do think that's what you're trying to say. Maybe I misheard. Well, let me ask you a question about money then. How do you get money? Now, most people are going to answer, well, I go to work. Okay, that's fine. You can say that you go to work, but actually, what are you doing when you're at work? There's more fascinating questions about this. And I love money consciousness and diet and money consciousness are actually two things that I see many people. I see many people sort of struggle, have a bit of an internal struggle. People say money is at the root of all evil, or money is bad, or it's only rich people are bad people and stuff like that. It's not how money works. Money is actually about the service you provide. If you provide a great service and you add so much value to people's lives, that's how you earn money. It's simple fact. And one of the things I learned was multiple sources of income. I had to learn multiple sources of income. Exchanging your time for money is a fair answer, but it's one of the worst ways to earn money, Kevin, I promise you. You exchange your time for money, you'll never be rich. If you can add value to more people's lives, if you can add value around the world to millions of people's lives, that's how you earn money. It's a reward for service given. The more service you provide, the more money you receive. If you can give service to millions, that's why Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, those guys who covered the world in computers. Henry Ford wrapped the world in motor cars. These people made millions. They made millions. Yes, exactly. Yeah, a job will keep you just over broke. Exchanging time for money will keep you just over broke. It did me for many years. And in the last 10 years or so, I've managed to change it all. I've changed it by following a guy called Kevin Green here in the UK, who's got some amazing strategies. Being rich is not about money. Exactly right. If you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he studied 500 millionaires for 25 years. Now, some people would think that book is all about money. It really is not. It mentions money very little. It's actually about thinking and growing and being rich. And rich is richness of wealth. The true meaning of wealth is everything working perfectly in your life. And I had to learn that. And many people have to learn that. And it's an amazing journey. It's an absolutely amazing journey. It's so important to be able to learn that. It's not just about money's a byproduct of the service you provide. You provide the best possible service in the world and you will just make money. All I do now, I used to worry about money all the time. When I was younger, I never had enough. Lack mentality, never had enough. I used to worry about money a lot. And the bottom line is nowadays, I never worry about money. I never worry about money for two reasons. One, I got bankrupt and I lost a lot. And that took away a lot of the fear. But the other one is that I wake up day in, day out, and all I do, my entire purpose and my vision and my goal, my purpose is to bring joy and bring knowledge to inspire and create. And I do that all day, every day. And all I do is add value. I add value. I give as much value as I possibly can in every hour that I'm awake. 16 hours I'm awake, I add value. I do as much as possible. Why would you ever need to worry about money when you live like that? So it's so important, guys. It's so important. And we're going to talk, there's a whole chapter on money later on in the book, which is going to cover a lot of this kind of stuff, a lot of this information and the journey that I went on to be able to go from bankrupt to financially free. There's a whole piece about that before, about going from unable to walk to running marathons to getting healthy. Health is the foundation of everything. Get your health right, and then you can start to add value, give service, and start to make things really, really important happen. So just remember these things, guys, because I promise you they've been life-changing for me. That's brilliant, Kevin. That's a brilliant quote. Simply put, Kevin's put here from LinkedIn. He's put, simply put, the education system we were brought up in idolizes money, but not how to create value. Imagine the society we'd be living in if we taught children how to add value and how to give service and create something. Imagine that. We don't need to teach children to remember, we teach children to memorize as much as possible. We getting some great quotes coming in here. Thank you, guys. We teach children and exams. We teach people to remember as much as possible. But the real thing about education, the word education comes from the word educo, and educo is a Greek word which means to draw out from within. So it's not about trying to remember as much as possible. It's actually about trying to bring out of you the best of you, bring out the best person, the best version of Mark, of Kevin, of many people that are watching this. Phil's over here. I think we've got Lucy on board as well, potentially. But bringing out the best version of you guys. That's all it is. And Kevin says he hasn't read your book yet. Maybe you should. You can pre-order now, mate. It's at markwilkinsonofficial.com/shop. You can pre-order and we'll send a signed copy. It's out in February. But yeah, we're just getting the message out. We're talking about each of the chapters and spreading some love around the world, because there's definitely challenging times out there. And I've heard some stories recently of people that have just decided to check out of life, and it's really made me sad. Because I did think suicidal thoughts when I was unhappy, sick and broke and had a disease and everything else. I'll happily admit that, or not happily, I'll admit that. I had to dig deep. I had to dust myself off and go again. Health is wealth. Yes, you're absolutely right. I can't see your name as this hasn't come up, but health is wealth. It's your foundation. Get your health right. There's great coaches, there's nutritional coaches, of course, doctors. I'd never negate medicine. Doctors have helped me before to recover and get my health back while I discovered all of this mind-body connection. The more mind-body connection I got, the more powerful I could be and the more things I could actually start to do. And then once I've got my energy up, life is energy. Once I've got my energy up, then I'm able to give that energy to other people, because I'm so full of energy that I can share it with you guys here 4 or 5 times a week when I come on live now. It really is an honor to be here and to be able to share some of this stuff. I'm so happy and grateful that I chose life, that I chose to create rather than disintegrate. I'm so happy and grateful that I can reach you guys through the wonders of the internet. We're going to be doing a great many more things in 2021, and good things are happening at all times. So that's it. That's chapter 4, Life Remix Samples. Next week, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. we'll be doing chapter 5. I'll probably be back in the morning. I expect we'll do a Well Done Wednesday in the morning. I always enjoy that, so we'll do that. And then tomorrow night, we've got the Jason Cundy interview, the Chelsea, Spurs, Ipswich and Portsmouth player. Wonderful guy, Jason. He'll be with us tomorrow evening at 7:30. And then, the schedule continues. But please do keep connected to us. Find us at liferemixed.co.uk or markwilkinsonofficial.com. I love you all. Thank you all so much for listening. Do share the videos, put the message out. I'm here always just to help. And I want to listen. I want to share, and I want to grow with you guys. Over and out. Lots of love. Cheers.